All right, I try not to get too political on my channel, but there's something going on that I just need to talk about. If any of you recall that little incident in New Zealand with the guy that went in and murdered all those Muslims while they were in their mosque, um, I watched that video not while it was live streamed, but there was a short period afterwards where it was still available, and I managed to watch it. And there were some things that stood out to me that kind of set my spidey senses off. Um, the first thing I noticed was this guy was well trained. He wasn't he wasn't just some Joe Schmo that bought some firearms and decided one day that he was just going to go on a killing rampage. This guy, the way he was carrying this out, um, he had some significant training, and in watching it, I was watching it from the eyes of, as a self defender. If I were there, not necessarily in a mosque because that's not my religion, if this had happened in my church, how could I have responded? And I don't have no great level of tactical training either, but I would have to say uh, there I would have stand a very minimal chance of defending myself or anybody else with a handgun, and my training. This guy definitely had some training. And on to the next point, he was very well armed, um, which leads me to believe that he had some kind of financing behind him. Um, if somebody is angry at Muslims or any other religious group, uh, they're usually gonna, like make rude comments or post stuff that just, makes them uncomfortable and unwanted, or they're not gonna come up with this elaborate plan to murder a bunch of them while in a mosque at prayer and spend his own money on that, because from looking at this guy's firearms and the equipment he was using, um, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars he had to have spent on this. I don't know, maybe the guy was rich. It leads me to believe that he was funded. um, the next point that I want to get onto is the emotional state of him. If you're angry or you have hatred towards a certain group of people while carrying out these murders, you would think that some of that emotion would come across. This guy was focused, he had intent, and this also leads me to believe that he had killed before. Um, and I'll go into a little bit about this. The natural human response to a violent death is nausea, repulsiveness. Um, it takes a toll on you. And I'm not talking human life. I've never taken a human life, and I hope I never have to. But I remember the first time I ever went hunting, and I shot a rabbit, and it wasn't a clean kill. The animal was suffering, and I remember wanting to vomit, the nausea, the 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 remorse. I wanted to be able to take that shot back, and that was a very valuable lesson for me. This guy had absolutely no emotion. He was very focused, and um, he was there to do a job, and he was carrying it out like like any military officer or military soldier would. The next thing I want to get onto is for, I believe, like 15 minutes, this guy was just able to kill at will. There was no law enforcement response to it at all. He had absolutely no resistance. It was literally a turkey shoot. Um, and that's suspicious in itself, because the area that they were in looked like, there was probably a police department within at least a quarter mile of the place. This wasn't out in the middle of nowhere in some podunk little town. This was in a city. Okay. um and then after the shooting, after all this, the media just started pandering to the Muslim community, and not just the media, but the government started pandering to the Muslim community about how they're going to enact laws to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Okay, first off, there's no amount of laws that can stop crazy. Here in America, they let crazies and people with mental disorders just run free, and do as they please. That if the only way to stop this particular, well, there really is no. I'm going to back up. There's no way to stop this kind of stuff. Evil exists. Okay. Um, it's up to good people like us to stop that evil, and we can't always do it. We can't win every battle. Okay, so government officials, they come in, they vow to change laws, and they did. Okay, so in New Zealand, there's all kinds of laws now that quote assault rifles, AR-15s, anything that's semi-automatic or can hold a certain amount of magazine. I don't know specifically what it is, but those firearms are now illegal, and all those people that legally purchased those firearms right now have armed government officials coming in and seizing their property at gunpoint. Their legally purchased property at gunpoint. Does that remind you of anything? Let me take you back to, I believe it was 1937 Germany, when the Nazi Party began seizing firearms. In fact, in Austria, many of the citizens turned in their firearms. And then the government realized that the citizens could do nothing to stop them. And they were able to act with impunity. And what happened? Some 6 million or 6 billion innocent Jewish people died at the hands of those Nazis. And I'm sad to say that the Democratic Party, what it used to be, is no more. The Democratic National Party here in America is resembling exactly what the National Socialist Party of Germany was. I'm not sure exactly what the term is, but Nazi in short stands for National Socialist Party. Anyways, food for thought. And if you don't think this can happen in America, think again, because there's people on the presidential ballot right now that want to take your guns. Please be sure to vote. Thank you for watching, and please give us a like and subscribe.